Okay, welcome to our next lesson, which is called Age Word Problems. How are you doing, Abigail?
Good.
And how are you doing, Bonnie? All right. So here's an example of an age word problem down here. In 18 years, Jenny will be 3 times as old as she is now. How old is she? So if you were going to guess about this, would it be something that's easy to guess?
No.
No, not really. What would your guess be?
My guess would be
Don't think too much, just guess.
around like
Okay, well, it's around 8. Okay, well, 8 plus 18 is 24. Oh, that works, doesn't it?
oh it does.
Okay.
I just guessed.
So anyway, sometimes it's easy to guess, sometimes it's harder to guess. But anyway, we'll look forward to getting the answer, which is probably going to be 8. Okay, so the first thing to do with the age word problems is to write down the variables. Write the variables. So you can like choose those. So for example, Jenny's age could be equal to J or something like that. You can just choose what letters you want to use. Number 2 is write the equations. You look at the problem and you write down the equations that you figure out from those. Step 3 is to solve the equations. And step 4 is to write the answer. And for that, you have to go back to the problem and figure out what exactly they're asking for. Okay, so there's 4 steps, and let me just summarize them down here. So you write the variables, you write the equations, then you solve, and then you provide the answer. So what does that spell? V-E-S-A. Visa, or V-E-S-A. So you can just remember that, visa. So in this particular case, step 1 is to write the variables. What quantity should we express as a variable?
How old she is now.
Yes, so you should be very explicit about it. So we say, let J equal the age of Jenny now. And you can use any letter if you want, but J is for Jenny. So J is the age of Jenny now. Sometimes there's more variables that you need to kind of define, but in this case, that's probably enough. So it says, in 18 years, Jenny will be 3 times as old as she is now. So now we're on the equations part. How can we write that information as an equation? Well, the way that I would do it, do you have an idea, Abigail?
Well, you could write it like, should I say how you write it?
Well, that's okay. In 18 years, how old will she be?
J plus 18.
Yep. So her age in 18 years will be J plus 18. And we know that that is going to be equal to what?
J times, so 3J.
3J, that's right. 3 times J, because this is 3 times her age. And what the statement is saying is that Jenny will be 3 times her age, how old she is now, in 18 years. So these two things will equal each other. So our equation, let me switch colors here, is going to be 3J equals J plus 18, right? Now, does this look familiar? This looks just like one of those linear equations with one variable that we can solve. So what would you this is kind of review, but what do you do here?
You solve it by taking away the J. And so 1J and taking away 1J on the other side.
Exactly. So then what we end up with is 2J equals 18. And so J equals 9. Whoa, that's different from what you said, right? 8? Oh, whoopsies. I did make a mistake when you said 8. I thought that would work out. Because I thought 18 plus 8 was 24, but it's actually 26. Is that what you were trying to tell me, Bonnie? Oh, Bonnie kept tapping me on the shoulder there. Okay. Anyway, so that's why algebra is very reliable. See, J equals 9. Let's just check to see if it works. So in 18 years, she's going to be 27. And that is 3 times how old she is now. So perfect. All right. So let's go on to another problem, one that's a little bit more difficult. It sounds like the boys are screaming for me down there. I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone in the video, but okay, let's skip this one because it has a fraction. We're not ready for fractions yet. Okay, Dustin is 11 years younger than Elias. In 2 years, Dustin will be half as old as Elias. How old is Dustin? Ooh, that's a hard one. So the first step is variables. What should we define as our variables here? Abigail, what do you think?
Dustin's age.
Yep, and maybe we should call that D.
Yeah.
So D equals Dustin's age. I've never heard of Dustin. I've heard of Justin. Dustin's age. And what would the other variable be?
Elias's age.
Yeah, E equals Elias's age. Okay. In 2 years, Dustin will be half as old as Elias. How old is... Oh, and then Dustin is 11 years younger than Elias. So how do we put this into equations? So first of all, that first sentence, Dustin is 11 years younger than Elias. How would you write that?
D.
Is an equals 11 years younger.
11 plus, 11. E minus 11.
E minus 11, right? Because this is Elias's age, and then you subtract 11, that's Dustin's age. Okay, good. And then the other information, in 2 years, so that would be D plus 2, right? In 2 years, Dustin will be D plus 2, but that's going to be half as old as Elias. So would that be 1/2 of E? Here's the tricky part. Is it half of E?
No.
What would it be?
It's half of E plus 2.
That's right. And we need to put E plus 2 in parentheses because it's half of that whole thing. If we left out the parentheses, it would be half of E and then that thing plus 2, which is not right. It's half of Elias's age in 2 years. So this is a little different because now we have two equations with two variables. But we can easily, I shouldn't say easily. We can turn this into one variable because look, D is equal to E minus 11, right? So we could just plug in E minus 11 every time we see a D in this one. So let's do that. Let me change colors here. So this is E minus 11 plus 2 equals 1/2 of E minus 11.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That doesn't get substituted as E minus 11 because it's already an E. Thanks, Abigail. So that's an E plus 2. Okay, so this is the equation we want to solve, and notice there's only one variable. And so that goes back to our solving equations with one variable thing. But notice that we have an annoying fraction here. The first thing you do when you see a fraction in these problems is get rid of it. That's my opinion. And how do you get rid of a 1/2?
You multiply it by...
By what?
The distributive property?
Oh, you could multiply it through like that? But I wanted to kind of get rid of this fraction, so you multiply by 2 on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, there's different ways to do this, but I kind of like to just clear the fractions. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2, and then I'm going to multiply this side by 2. But when I multiply that side by 2, I really need to multiply each of these things by 2, as you know. So that becomes 2e minus 22 plus 4. Does that make sense? Equals e plus 2. Because I multiplied by 2 and that got rid of this 1/2. Okay? So now I just get the e's on one side, and we've done this before, so let me just do this quickly. So negative 22 plus 4 is 2e minus 18 equals e plus 2. So then we have subtract e from both sides, minus e, and then we get e minus 18 equals 2. Then add 18 to both sides, and you end up with e equals 20. So that means that Elias is 20. And if Elias is 20 minus 11, so that means that d, according to this equation here, is 9. So let's just see if that works. So Dustin's age is 9, and Elias is 20. Dustin is 11 years younger than Elias. Oh yes, that's true. In 2 years, that means that they'll be 11 and 22. Dustin will be half as old as Elias. Yes, that works. But let's go back to the last thing. What's the answer? Well, it's not asking what Dustin and Elias's age are. It's asking how old is Dustin. So the answer, final answer, is 9, and you can put a big circle around that. And if you wanted to, you could say Dustin is 9 years old. Make sense? Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll be done with this particular lesson. Okay, let's go down here. Oh, I don't like that one. It has fraction. This one is better. Okay, well, this is kind of maybe an easier one than the last one because it only involves one variable. In 20 years, John will be 5 times as old as he is now. So variables, J equals John's age. And John, in 20 years, so that will be J plus 20. He's going to be 5 times as old as he is now, so that's going to be equal to 5J. Subtract J from both sides. Minus J, 20 equals 4J, so that means J is 5. I think John is 5 years old. John is 5 years old, and that's the final answer. But let's just check to see if that makes sense. In 20 years, he's going to be 25, right? That is going to be 5 times as old as he is now. So everything works. Now, Tommy, what do you want?
Play this.
Oh, you want to play with this thing? Okay. Well, I think I first need to change your stinky diaper. I don't know. Fortunately, the people watching the video can't smell what we can smell. Okay.